disrespectful brat. Your parents would be ashamed. What a pathetic daddy's boy. Sounds like he would make a perfect member of your re-army, Mr. Reddit.
r/EntitledParents. What is up, guys? Mr. Reddit here, back with another episode of Entitled Parents Stories. r/EntitledParents is one of my favorite subreddits, and I really enjoyed making this. Now kick back, relax, and enjoy the show. Our first story we're reading today is called Entitled Father Makes Me Do His Groceries, I Comply. And this story comes from user Sabido. After that, we'll be reading Crazy Entitled Parent Mocks Me for Being a Daddy's Boy, which comes from user Hegor Baumhubner. And then we'll be wrapping up with another story from Hegor called Yet Another Entitled Parents, plural. Call me a rich daddy's boy, even though I'm far from being one. Thank you to our amazing authors for letting us read their stories. And welcome to the newest members of the Re-Army, Combat Kicker, Zachary, and Aaron. And if you're new, join the Re-Army by subscribing for new stories from Reddit every single day. Our cast, we've got me, of course, Entitled Father, and Entitled Kid. Not as bad as most on this subreddit. I worked at a well-known grocery store in my country when I was 15 years old. I was filling in the candy section when Entitled Father walked by with his perfect child trotting next to him. Entitled Father already looked like a scumbag from the moment that I saw him. He had a stained shirt. He had so much perfume on him, trying to mask the smell of Mary Jane, which is legal here. Entitled Kid, of course, looked ecstatic at the sight of the delicious shelves filled to the brim with all the candies he could think of. Entitled Father began to talk to me while I was holding a bag of licorice, which was quite heavy.
Drop that box now and help me. I don't have a lot of time.
I put the box gently down into the trolley and with my best customer support voice asked him how I could help him.
Where's the gosh darn milk?
The milk is 2 aisles further up. From there, you can ask my colleague where it is.
Well, you're here now, so come with me and you can show it.
I looked a bit irritated at him because I still had a lot of work to do. Sir, you can walk over there and ask my colleague. I have a lot of work to do.
You are here now, and you know what I want. You have to come with me. Now stop wasting my freaking time and walk with me to show me the milk. And give me one of those chocolate bars.
Because of our stupid store policy, I couldn't say no to customers. Didn't matter the question. So I gave him a bar of chocolate, which made Entitled Kid quiet for the rest of this story, thank God, and walked with this human dirt stain to the dairy aisle. Upon reaching the aisle, my colleague looked a bit confused at me. I just looked at him with a face that clearly said, "You are lucky this sandbag didn't ask you." I showed Entitled Father where the milk was, and, of course, like the humble man that he is, I had to grab it for him. He threw it in his car and grabbed a piece of paper from his pockets. The paper was very wrinkly and had a coffee stain at the back.
Now, show me where the rest of my stuff is.
This man, I think around his 50s, just asked me, a 15-year-old teen, to do his groceries. Sorry, sir. I have a lot of work to do. I could bring a supervisor to help if you want.
Don't bullcrap me, boy. You work here, so you have to do anything I tell you to do. It is your job to help the customer with his every need.
I was dumbfounded at how he just told me that just because I worked here, that I was his personal slave as long as he was a customer. But the store policy said I couldn't say no to a customer. I grabbed his grocery list from his rough, ashy hands. Just some simple groceries, no big deal. But I had an idea brewing. I tried to help the man with the best customer service face and voice I could muster. Entitled Father couldn't stop talking about how his perfect child was so good at football, soccer. He told me about how Entitled Kid had a championship in half an hour and that I had to hurry up. This gave me an even better idea. I proceeded to help the man get his groceries, but at the slowest pace that I had ever walked. I am sure that even a snail could do his groceries faster. Entitled Father also made me grab everything in his list and put it in his car. He didn't look wealthy at all, so I grabbed all the A-brand groceries. In my store, we have A-brand and B-brand. B-brand is the store brand or a cheap brand. A brand was the super deluxe, not at all cheap brand. A brand could go 2 to 3 times the price of B brand stuff. When I was finally done getting Entitled Father's groceries, he looked at me with fiery hate.
That took way too freaking long. How useless can you be?
Me, trying to stay calm. My sincere apologies, sir. I guess that I am useless after all. Entitled Father scoffed and walked over to the cash register, which by now had a long queue. I decided to wait and watch Entitled Father buy his groceries. When he finally got to the cash register to buy his groceries, I could see his eyes open more than humanly possible. He finally noticed that I put all A brand stuff in his car. God bless my supervisor, a really nice guy, told me that my time was up and I didn't do my shelves. I explained my situation and pointed towards Entitled Father, who was putting all his groceries back into his cart to put them back in the shelves. My supervisor laughed at the absurdity of Entitled Father and let me go home scot-free. An Entitled Father made me do his groceries and was outright rude to me, so I made sure he came too late for Entitled Kids Championship. He was about 1 hour too late. Don't be rude to grocery store workers. I know this isn't such a nightmare situation as others have suffered, but this was worth saying. I'm also sorry for the people who hoped I'd destroy Entitled Father, but this was all I had in mind at the time. Thank you for reading this. I am willing to answer some questions or comments when I have some.
How dare you put those expensive groceries in that man's cart? Where do you work? I want to speak to your manager.
Karen, get out of here. I'm trying to read these stories.
How dare you tell me to get out of here?
No, seriously, Karen, I've still got 2 more stories to read, but we'll catch up afterwards. Next up, we've got Crazy Entitled Parent Mocks Me for Being a Daddy's Boy. Yeah, so this happened literally yesterday. I've been reading these stories for a while, and after living for 21 years, I thought I'd never encounter one. I just had to say it, didn't I? It was a Saturday, and I went to the supermarket to buy some groceries my dad asked me. So far, so good. I went in, parked my car inside the garage. There's an open parking lot with no roof and an actual garage. Went inside, bought the stuff, and headed back to my car. By the way, the car is a 2012 or 2013, I don't remember exactly which year, Mitsubishi Outlander. And here in Brazil, it's quite an expensive car to have. Yay, taxes. Ugh. Anyway, I took the key out of my pocket and unlocked the car's door to put the baggage in. As I closed the door and was about to enter the driver's seat, a wild, entitled mom appears, along with her kid, who is about 7 to 8 years old, and looked more embarrassed than someone being naked in public. She literally shouted out of the random blue,
Look at this! A daddy's boy about to enter his fancy car. Why don't you work hard for your own car?
I don't respond.
I asked you a question, boy.
I still don't respond.
Don't you play silent with me, jerk. Stop being a daddy's boy and work hard for a car like the rest of us.
After this, I finally decided to speak. Lady, first off, forget you. Secondly, you're right. This isn't my car. It's my family's car. We all use it, and I'm just here to get groceries for my dad. Thirdly, I don't know what you're doing here anyway. You clearly look like you made lots of trips to the supermarket. Why don't you take the car you worked so hard for? I added a strong sarcastic tone to that one. And drive to the gym. Freaking fatso.
What did you say?
I jumped in the driver's seat and was ready to drive off. I wasn't even in a rush. I just did it normally like nothing ever happened. But this crazy lady jumped in front of my car and wouldn't let me leave the spot. I sighed, rolled down the window, and said, in a very dark tone and staring her dead in the eye with those bored anime half-crossed eyes, yes, I do that. Lady, you have 2 options. Either get out of the way and leave, and we'll never see each other again, or I'll have this car run you over, and then back up again just to make sure it did the job. Entitled Mom was white and speechless, and I added one last salt to the wound. Oh, and by the way, that means your son will be left without his mother. Although that wouldn't necessarily be a bad thing, considering the piece of crap you are to random people. Now, if your fat butt can excuse me... Entitled Mom looked defeated and moved out of the way while having her head down, and I left the garage. While on the way home, I literally said out loud to myself, "What the heck happened back there?"
How dare he treat me like that? I'll get him back if it's the last thing I ever...
Karen, shut up. And our final story of the day, which is also from Igor. Yet another entitled parents, plural. Call me a rich daddy's boy, even though I'm far from being one. Y'all know that moment when you say, "At least it can't get any worse," and immediately after, something worse does happen? Yeah. Well, you can add, "I'll never encounter an entitled parent" to that list, because holy crap, this is the second time I said that. And shortly after, I encounter an entitled parent. And once again, it was over the same BS as the last time. If you're wondering what happened, here's my previous story. So yeah, just what the heck is it with these entitled parents and their apparent jealousy and resentment towards rich people? I mean, they appear out of the random blue and begin mocking them for no gosh darn reason at all. In order for you to understand this story, I need to explain briefly what my job is. My father owns an auto shop. We fix scratches, cracked windshields, we polish cars, repair bumps on the cars, etc., etc. My job? I'm basically a driver for my dad. My dad has quite a few partnerships with some dealerships across our town. They call my dad on his cell, they tell him which car they need fixed, and my job is to drive over to the dealership. Actually, another employee of my dad's drives me there, and I pick up the car and drive back to the shop. And once the car is fixed, takes a few days, obviously, depending on the work required, I drive the car back to the dealership. Quite simple, but it is exhausting, driving all over the city all day, every day. So anyway, my dad needed me to take a client's car back to the dealership. If you're wondering which car it was, coincidentally, it is the same car, although different year, from my previous story. A 2016 Mitsubishi Outlander. Here in Brazil, it's quite an expensive car to have. Oh, nice. However, the fuel is low, and I stopped to refill the tank. Since I'm paying out of my own pocket, I would ask them to pay me back the amount I spent to fill the tank, and they always accept since it's fair. And this specific dealership are our friends, so it's okie dokie. While the tank is being filled, I take about a minute or two to read some entitled parent stories on Reddit on my phone. I was reading before I left, and kept the ad on the phone open. I then headed inside the gas station store to pay and headed back. Note, I said that taboo phrase before leaving the car to pay, and as I walked out and was about to open the door, lo and behold, a gosh darn entitled parent shows up. Oh, wait, it wasn't just one. It was a couple. A man and I'd say woman, but darn, she was ugly. Cast. We've got Karen, entitled Jabba the Hutt of a woman. Kevin, entitled husband, father. I'd like to think that Kevin will be from now on always linked to an entitled dad and a Karen in these stories. And the kid. He wasn't entitled and did look embarrassed from their parents' actions. And me, your God. As I was about to open the car doors, these wild entitled parents who were walking by suddenly looked at me. I wasn't paying attention, and they shouted out at me from the random blue hell. These exact words, people.
Look at this, Kevin. Another rich daddy's boy with this fancy car. Pitiful, right?
Points at me.
Hey, you! Did your daddy buy you that fancy SUV?
The kid starts mumbling.
Not this again.
Yeah, right. As if. I'd had to work 3 lifetimes to afford a car like this.
So? How come you're driving it if it's not yours?
I work at an auto shop, and my job is to pick up cars, drive them to the shop, and vice versa. So yeah, take your resentment and stick it up your behind. I know it seemed kinda harsh for me to act this way so early, but since this only happened about 2 weeks since my last encounter, and I was already kinda tired from working that day, I wasn't in a mood to be disrespected, especially by 2 jealous jerks.
Hey! You don't talk to my wife like that!
I decided to become a smart aleck. Wait, that's your wife? That's a woman? Jeez, you have some low standards, my dude.
How freaking dare you! And don't call me Dude, you little crap. Okay, let me rephrase that. You have some low standards, old man. How about that? You disrespectful brat. Your parents would be ashamed. You're right, they would. They'd be ashamed of me for allowing you to waste my precious time by wasting my breath on you. And since we're on the topic, you need a mint. I can smell your breath from here. You jerk! Apologize to my wife now! Or what? Or I'll make you! I closed the car's door. Okay. Signal at him to bring it. Come on, then. And this Kevin, well, he doesn't do anything. He just stands around, fuming, and seems hesitant to attack me. I then proceed to further annoy him. What's the matter, chicken crap? I thought you would make me apologize. Don't call me that, you little freak Todd. Get over here and apologize. Okay, listen, I gotta continue my work. So, no. Why don't you take your Jabba the Huttish of a wife that you ridiculously call a woman? I actually made quote gestures with my fingers. And continue with your walk, because she clearly needs one. How dare you! You mad, lady? After that, Kevin and Karen just keep fuming, while the kid just tries to hold back his laughter at me cursing out his parents. Kid looks like he's having the time of his life now, which actually sounds sad now that I think about it. If we're done here, I then hop in the car, take one last look at them, and Kevin seems ready to attack me just as I was about to leave. Freaking coward. And I flip them the bird before driving off. I'm never saying that cursed phrase again. I'm a very short-tempered person, but I was less aggressive than my previous encounter, so I guess this couple should consider themselves lucky. Edit. The gas station employee was indeed there, but was too busy laughing his butt off in the background to intervene. Don't blame him, though. Now that I look at it, I, too, would have been laughing if I saw a 21-year-old continuously insulting a couple who were about late 30s or early 40s. What a pathetic daddy's boy. Sounds like he would make a perfect member of your Re-Army, Mr. Reddit. Congratulations to 280 Sanja, our newest Re-General. Look at all these Re's. Ha! 280 Sanja? Pathetic. Again, Mr. Reddit. You and your Re-Army scum will not stop the entitled parents' scourge. What do you mean we won't stop you? Didn't you see all the Re's in yesterday's video? Ha! You think 958 is a lot? That's a mere peasant number, and it pales in comparison to the entitled parents' scourge. You think Nancy's going to help you stop me? Or that dancing queen friend of yours? Or that r/... Wait, what? r/retail versus Karen? How dare you! This is not funny. I demand you delete your channel right now. Alright, you guys, it sounds like Karen might be charging up a super Re. The only way we can counter her attack is with even more Re's in the comments than yesterday. You know what to do. That's all for now, but don't be blue. I'll be back soon with more stories for you. Remember to listen to Mr. Reddit every night, so your dreams will be wonderful like you are and bright.